Yes, the bandits, Baracco's men, reports Duval, his gruff voice conveying his contempt for them and their leader. It seems we have both suffered at his hands. A month ago, he and his Vasagonian renegades ambushed my troop on the Ruanon Pike. We were sorely outnumbered, and the fight was indeed bitter, but we broke free from them and escaped here to Ruanon. We have been besieged, ever since, and praying for help to arrive. We have enough weapons to resist them, but we have barely enough food and water to survive. You ask what has become of the people of Ruanon. Most are now slaves. Baraka has taken to the mines, and he uses the Ruanese for forced labor. Other than yourself, only one man has escaped from the mines and survived the warhounds and bandit snipers. That man is Baron Olin Van Alland. Come, I shall take you to him. Duval leads you to the topmost chamber of the watchtower and pushes open the iron-shod door. The sight that greets you fills your heart with sorrow and pity. Orin Van Alland is the 15th Baron of Ruanon, a noble warrior of royal lineage, and 5th in succession to the throne of Summerland. This once proud and chivalrous warlord now lies upon the cold stone floor of his chamber, red-eyed and whimpering like a frightened dog. He's lost everything, says Duval quietly. Baraka has destroyed his castle, his land, his town, and his family. His sons are dead, and his only daughter has been taken captive by Baraka himself. I fear the ordeal has turned his mind. And then there's a picture of his son dead and his castle burned and a crow. Why the crow's there, I'm not really sure. Maybe the crow was like a pet? Or, I don't know. The pathetic man rises his tear-stained face and with a feeble voice mutters a curious rhyme over and over again. When a fair and royal maid on altar dies, the dead of Mackengorge shall arise. If you possess the scroll, hey, I do possess the scroll. Ha ha! Because I didn't attack that crazy old man. As you unfurl the scroll and begin to read the ominous contents, the Baron struggles to his feet. Word for word, he echoes the prophetic verse. When the full moon shines o'er the temple deep, a sacrifice will stir from sleep, the legions of a long-forgotten lord. When a fair royal maid on altar dies, the dead of Mackengorge shall arise, to claim their long-awaited reward. You must save her, Lone Wolf. You must prevent the sacrifice. The Baron's voice is choked with emotion. Save who? Who must he save? Captain Duval questions Captain Duval as he tries to calm the distressed Baron. My daughter, Madelon Baraka, has found the dagger of Vashna. He plans to sacrifice my daughter upon the altar of Macken to release the undead of Mackengorge. The Baron explains that during the age of the Black Moon, King Unlar of Summerland killed the mightiest of all the Dark Lords, Vashna, with the Summer Sword and the Sword of the Sun. His body and the bodies of all his soldiers were hurled into the bottomless abyss of the Mackengorge. He plans to lead the dead to victory first to conquer Summerland, and then all of the last lands, he says in despair. You stare at the Baron in stunned silence. If Baraka completes the sacrifice, all is lost. What mortal army can stand against the legion of the dead? Captain Duval ushers you from the chamber and closes the door. I feared he was insane, but your scroll confirms my worst nightmare. He speaks the truth. As the dreadful significance of the verse begins to sink in, your thoughts are broken by a shrill blast of a war horn. Captain Duval strides over to an arrow slit and peers out across the plain. As he turns to speak, you notice that his face is ashen gray. The bandits! They're launching an attack! If you possess Captain Duval's sword, turn... Yes, I do possess his sword. You draw the sword and offer it to the captain. A look of surprise and delight crosses his face as he examines the blade. I never expected to see my trusty steel again. It's a good omen for the battle ahead. Yeah, because, that's going to be all the difference in the world. Yeah, whatever. Thanking you, the captain sheathes his sword in his scabbard, which until now has hung empty from his belt. Alrighty. You follow Captain Duval as he hurries down the broad watchtower steps and out to the barricade. A rolling sound like distant thunder fills the air. The cavalry are pounding onto the plain from all sides, grouping up into battalions in preparation for the advance. Columns of foot soldiers in bright scarlet armor march through their ranks, heralding hurting the frightened wall of people before them. "They're Ruinese!" cries Deval, his hands shielding the light from his eyes. "That cur Baraka! He is using them as a shield!" All around you, the captain's men have drawn their bowstrings, awaiting the signal to fire, but it is an order he dare not give. Suddenly, a hidden catapult hurls a massive black rock through the air, straight towards the barricade. You stare in horror as it bursts into flame and disintegrates, showering a rain of blazing oil on everyone beneath. The soldiers cannot evade the deluge, and many are badly burnt before the flames are smothered. A battle cry resounds from the enemy ranks, a signal to attack. The Ruinese are pushed aside and trampled by the onrush of the Scarlet Warriors, who now race towards the barricade. I think it's time for some battle music. We got a picture of a poor Summerlene soldier being burned to death by the oil. Aww. The blazing oil has scattered Deval's men, and the barricade is poorly defended. You hear Captain Deval shout your name. His cloak and tunic are ablaze. He's screaming for your help. If you have reached the Kai rank of Warman, you possess 8 Kai disciplines. Turn to page 255. Alright. You must rally the defenders or all is lost. You order 2 soldiers to help the captain, and then leap on the overturned wagon in order to see clearly the enemy advance. They have already reached the ruined perimeter of Ruin and are now creeping forward under the cover of broken cottage walls. You shout orders to Deval's men to defend the barricade, but the enemy are less than 100 yards from the wall, and you are afraid it might be too late to repel the attack. Yeah, come on. This is why I like this book. It's a massive battle. Let's do it. The Vesagonian bandits break cover and charge, and you give the order to fire. A cloud of arrows sweeps down upon the armor-clad men, their hardened tips penetrating their scarlet plate. The first wave of assailants tumbles and falls. The second wave falters. Another volley forces them back, and they retreat to the ruins to reorganize themselves. Here and there, groups of bandit warriors have survived the hail of death and reached the barricade. Most are slain as they try to enter, but a small and determined section of their boldest fighters have broken through close to where you are. Close to where you stand. Suddenly, a thick-bodied warrior with oily black hair tied into a knot at the back of his scarred head leaps onto our wagon and attacks you. Oh, by the way, I have definitely passed 4 number sections, so I have full health again. Thank you, healing. You can evade combat. Evade? What? I am no craven. I will fight this beast. Oh, hang on. I gotta actually fight it before I continue. Alright, so it's battle time. He's got a combat skill of 18. Ha! Bittens! Bittens, I say! An endurance of 25. Let's get it on! He's down to 11. I've lost nothing. He's dead. Ha 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 ha! That's right. Their warriors are no match for my skill. He didn't even touch me, and I killed him in 2 rounds. Booyah. 'Cause that's how I roll. Alright. Deval runs past the wagon, leading a dozen of his best swordsmen in a countercharge, driving the enemy all the way back to the barricade. None escape alive. Those who survive Deval's swordsmen are cut down on the plain by his archers as they run towards the ruins. The shout of victory has barely died away before you're faced by a new threat. Republicans. No, I'm just kidding. I got nothing against Republicans. It was just the first thing that popped into my head. I would think it's funny, just a bunch of old men in suits marching down the battle. No! How will we take them on? Alright. A mantlet, a large shield on wheels, is being pushed slowly across the body-strewn battleground towards the barricade. Arrow shafts soon bristle from the thick wooden planks as Deval's men fire their bows time and time again in an attempt to hit the shielded foe. And you got a picture of the wooden barricade being pushed forward, and of course a guy dead in front of it. Suddenly, a robed figure darts from behind the mantlet, and I guess I should mention, Vesagonia, the people you're fighting, they're like the Middle Eastern people of this world. They look very, they have like Islamic culture, Islamic armor and clothing, that kind of thing. So, just to help you kind of imagine what they look like. Yeah, so where was I? Okay, suddenly a robed figure darts out from behind the mantelet and levels a black staff at the barricade. He is cut down by an arrow, but not before he lets loose from his staff a guttering ball of flame. It cartwheels across the plain and explodes with a tremendous roar, hurling the bodies of defenders and shattered barricade high into the air. Through the cloud of dust and debris, you can see a line of enemy cavalry charging across the plain. They wear tall plumed helmets of polished steel and breastplates of the deepest crimson. In the wake of the fireball, they pour through the remains of the barricade and attack. They give no quarter. A horseman spurs his horse towards you, his lance leveled at your chest. Do you wish to stand and fight the horseman? Yeah. Or do I wish to run to the watchtower? Oh, man. The problem is, I remember this, if I want to take on the captain, I gotta go to the watchtower, but I feel so bad standing, running and fighting. No, I'm gonna stay with my men. I'm gonna stay! The horseman is charging at you very quickly. You will only be able to fight for one round of combat before the momentum carries him past you. Alright, so he has a combat skill of 20. And an endurance of 28. I have a combat skill of 24. Alright, one battle, one fight, one round. Let's do this. What? Oops. Right, I forgot to hit that last button. Alright, so he has a combat skill of 20. And 28. Alright. One round. Let's do this. Alright, so he loses 8, I lose 2. So obviously he loses a lot more endurance than I do. If your enemy loses more endurance points than you, I go to 220. Your blow has unhorsed the bandit. He falls to the ground heavily, shattering his lance beneath him. He staggers to his feet, rising the hinged eye shield of his helm. He stares at you and smiles wickedly, exposing a jagged line of blackened teeth. He spits out a battle cry and runs towards you, unsheathing his broadsword as he closes in. Do you wish to fight the warrior? Of course I do. Silly. You are in combat with a Vasigonian horseman who is now on foot. You cannot evade him and must fight him to the death. Well, I could have evaded him if I wanted to. Alright, so he's at 24 with a combat skill of 17. I'm at 24 with endurance of 33. Alright, let's do this. It's down to 6. I haven't lost anything. Wow. Did I really hit him for... What? I hit him for 18 points of damage? I didn't think that was possible. Oh yeah, it is if you get really high. Okay, so 18 points of damage. Next round, he's dead. Yeah, it didn't even touch me, except when he was on the horse. Alright, let's keep going. You run half-crouched to the barricade and prize a bow from the hand of the dead soldier. You have spotted the leader of the bandit cavalry, a tall, dark-skinned warrior with a thin, chiseled nose, rallying his horsemen to the foot of the stone watchtower. You know you must kill him before he can regroup his troops, or Duval and his hard-pressed men will be ridden down and mercilessly slaughtered. You notch an arrow and draw back the bowstring. The straining cord bites into your fingers as you take aim. Random number table. If you possess the guide discipline of weapon skill, add 2 to the number you picked. Come on. Don't let me down now. Random number table. 1. You suck! You suck! Ah! I had to add 2, which still puts me in the lowest bracket. Oh, crap. You release the shaft and it whistles towards the bandit leader, but he sees its deadly approach and raises his polished steel shield. Your heart sinks as the arrow is turned aside. It shatters harmlessly against the watchtower wall. Before you can fire again, the bow is suddenly kicked from your grasp. You are confronted by an armored warrior. He stands above you on the barricade wall and you cannot evade his attack. So much for looking cool. Alright, you sheath your weapon in order to use the bow, but unfortunately the warrior's attacks before you can draw it to defend yourself. Therefore, you must deduct 4 points from your combat skill for the first 2 rounds of combat. If you are still alive by the 3rd round, you manage to unsheath your weapon and retaliate. Alright, I'm gonna say that if I didn't unsheath my sword, I also didn't unsheath my shield. So we only get the advantage from the armored helm. Which means that we're still at a -2. So we're at a -2 for the first 2 rounds of combat, and then we'll go up. So let's do battle. We're at 16. He's at 17. He has endurance of 26. I have an endurance of 35. That sucks. Alright, hang on, wait a second. I'm at like 33 endurance points, not 35. Alright, So, let's do this. I'm at -1 for the first 2 rounds. Ready? And I lose 3 endurance points. He loses 6. I lose 1 endurance point. He loses, I don't know, he's at 11. So, I'm still doing good. And that's the first 2 rounds of combat. Now, hang on. Now he's screwed because I got my weapons out. And now I'm at a combat skill of 24. Booyah! Take this! And he's dead. As it should be. So I lost a bit of endurance there. I'm down to 29. And let's continue on with the fight, yeah? More enemy warriors are clambering across the shattered barricade towards you. You throw down your bow and run to the... What? I don't have a bow. Well, whatever. And run to a large water cask which is being defended by a stout Summerlunding sergeant. The ground around the cask is carpeted with enemy dead. Shoot the leader, you command, pointing towards the enemy officer. The sergeant aims and fires his bow with one swift fluid movement. The arrow arcs through the smoke-blackened sky and pierces the officer's shiny breastplate. Slowly, his cruel eyes flicker and close as he slips from his saddle with an arrow lodged deep in his heart. See, we should have done that. Oh, well, you know what? We will use this as our motivation to learn how to use an arrow later in the series. That way we can become bow masters. To me! Captain Duvall's voice booms out above the battle noise. Rally to me, Summerlunding! The brave captain draws about him a shielding wedge of soldiers and charges into the flank of the horsemen. They reel and buckle as the shield wedge hews its way through their company. The Vasagonian herald, his crimson armor torn and his face smeared with blood, breaks free from the battle and sounds the retreat. You watch as the surviving bandits spur their mounts to the gallop, desperate to escape through the ragged hole of the barricade. Gripped by panic and fatigue, they ride through their own foot soldiers who are advancing to support them. The infantry falter and collapse as the cavalry ride them down. And you have an order. You have a picture of the herald sounding for retreat, and there's Vasagonians getting hit with arrows. It's quite grisly, actually. Captain Duvall leads his men to the barricade and directs a lethal volley of arrows into the shattered infantry. It is the last straw. They throw down their weapons and flee from the clouds of arrows raining down on them from out of the smoke-filled sky. A battle cry, proud and strident, pursues them across the plain. For Summerlund! For Summerlund! And that, folks, is why cavalry can be a double-edged sword. If that cavalry breaks, they got nowhere to run but back into your infantry, and that has happened many, many times throughout history. So, hooray for our side. All around the barricade, the enemy are retreating in disorder. Bandit war horns announce the withdrawal, exhorting their defeated warriors to flee the battlefield. A jubilant Captain Duvall emerges from the war smoke, his eyes shining like jewels beneath the rim of his battered helm. We have triumphed, Lord Wolf! We have vanquished the foe! All around you, the captain's men are rebuilding the barricade and tending their wounded comrades. It sorrows you to see Summerlunding dead, but you take heart at how few they are beside the enemy's losses. The captain ushers you to a watchtower where your wounds are cleansed and dressed in lamb's fur. The herbs restore 6 endurance points. Yay! So we're already at 34. Well, let's just put 35 because by the time I get into another fight, it'll be back up. Thank you, healing. We have beaten this foe, but I fear that it is but a temporary reprieve, says the captain, his face now composed and somber. The sacrifice of Baron Vanalon's daughter must be stopped if we are to avoid catastrophe, for our strength will not avail us against the foe freshly risen from the grave. Those words, the words of the verse flood into your mind, and a chill runs down your spine as you realize what may lay ahead. In 3 days' time, when the moon is full, Baraka will sacrifice the Baron's daughter at the buried temple of Macken, a sacrifice that will unleash the dead of Macken Gorge, the Chasm of Doom. You know you must prevent this sacrifice. 50 miles south of Ruanon, the ruined city of Macken teeters on the brink of Macken Gorge. A cold sweat breaks out upon your brow as you contemplate the difficulty of your mission, for you are separated from your goal by 50 miles of enemy-held territory. But there is still a flicker of hope. With the enemy in confusion and retreat, your chances of success will be far higher now than before the battle. Before you set off on your perilous mission, Captain Duvall offers you the choice of the following equipment and provision. Enough food for 3 meals, a rope, a potion of lamb's fur, a sword and a spear. No, our backpack's still full, thanks. So let's go on the journey, shall we? Yes, folks, that battle wasn't even the climax of the book, huh? I like this book. Dusk soon enshrouds the I will never be able to pronounce that word. Belagura, post of Ruanon, and you use the cover of darkness to cross the body-strewn plain towards the south. An old highway trails off to Macon, but it is choked with Vasagonian warriors. They stand about in sullen groups, tending their wounded and brooding over their defeat. However, a demoralized and dejected, they are still a deadly foe. It will be dangerous to risk passing through their ranks, so you must use the forest to conceal your passage. If you wish to venture through the trees to the right of the highway, if you wish to venture through the trees to the left of the highway. Gee, I don't know. Well, the guy told us to run left, so let's stick with that. Way back when, in the mines. Let's go left again. The forest is patrolled by bandits, but they take little interest in their guard duties, and you find it easy to avoid them in the dark. Then, by chance, you come across a small log cabin hidden deep in the woods. A candle flickers at the window, and the door is ajar. If you wish to enter the hut, sure, why not? We like to poke our nose in places. The door slams shut, and you spin around to see a bandit leaping at you from the shadows. That's what you get for poking your nose in places. His head is a mass of bloodied bandages, but he is armed and determined to fight. He fights you with the back to the door you cannot evade. He has a combat skill of 13. Oh, wow. Maybe I should put up my weapon and try and fight him in a fair fight. 24 to 13. I have a 11. 11 is as high as the combat chart goes, plus 11. So, yeah. Let's get it on, shall we? And he's dead. Hey, he actually hit me. I'm actually injured a little bit. Actually did a little bit of damage to me before he died. Good job. Too bad my healing's gonna make that all for naught. Poor guy. You roll the dead bandit over with your toe of the boot and quickly make a search of his body. You discover the following items: 3 gold crowns, a dagger, and a sword. All useless. You may take any of the above items. As you are leaving, you notice a trapdoor on the floor. Opening, you see that it leads down to the cellar of the building. Do you wish to search the cellar? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You are at the bottom of the cellar, Latin. Oh, crap. I died. Okay, no I don't. I do not wish to search the cellar. I do not wish to search the cellar at all. I will leave the hut. Basically, they shut the door and I was locked down there and that's it. You quickly leave the hut far behind and press through the trees. By morning, you have reached the edge of the forest. Staring out across the fields of tall crops, you see a small village lying at the base of the shallow valley. The fields are only separated by narrow tracks, which are alive with flying insects hovering in swarms. You are walking along the track when you suddenly spot bandits ahead. They are wandering idly up the track towards you, their spears slung over their shoulders. And there's a picture of them wandering idly towards you with their spears slung over their shoulders. If you possess the Onyx Medallion, I don't. If you have the Kai discipline of camouflage and you have reached the Grand Kai rank of Guardian or higher, I do. So I will do page 49. Lifting your feet high, you step over the tall crops, taking care to part them first with your hands. You allow the stalks to close again behind your back before you crouch down and hold your breath. You have completely vanished from sight. It is as if the stalks have never been disturbed. The bandits amble past barely inches from where you hide, oblivious to your presence. When you are sure they have gone, you emerge from the crops and hurry away. You bypass a village with orange wood cabins and stone walls and climb through the tall fields. Yeah, because I think by now we've learned not to go into cabins. Beyond the ridge, you enter the thick forest and discover a bubbling freshwater stream. You drink deeply and realize how hungry you are. You must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Well, hang on. I've already healed, so let's go back to 35. I got hunt mastery, so I'll just hunt my own food. Alright, as night falls, you reach the city of Macon. The gaunt, weed-infested ruins of the shattered city are spread like a vast graveyard and bathed in the eerie light of a near full moon. A sound fills the air like the wailing of lost souls. It is the cry of Macon Gorge. It has been nearly 2 days since you last slept, and fatigue begins to overwhelm you. Drawing your Kai cloak around your shoulders, you settle down to sleep. You will need all of your strength for the daunting task that lies ahead. Dawn arrives, rain-swept and gloom-laden. A pall of drizzle hangs over the ghost city, and a gruesome discord of wailing winds of Macken Gorge make you feel uneasy. You watch and wait, your Kai cloak drawn close around your shoulders to keep out the chill, damp air. It was here, during the age of the Black Moon, that King Unlar, the Summerlund, killed the mightiest of the Dark Lords, Lord Vashna, in mortal combat on the very brink of the abyss. The Dark Lord was slain by the Summer Sword. It is said that his death cry when he fell will echo through the gorge until the day he rises to wreak his vengeance on Summerlund and the House of Unlar. Your stomach contracts at the thought of this could be that very day. For 5 hours you observe and take in every detail of the ruined city. The first line of the strange verse keeps repeating itself in your mind. When the full moon shines o'er the temple deep. The temple must be underground, and there must be an entrance to it, but where? You study every crack in the broken ground and eliminate all but 2 possibilities. A crypt door guarded by 2 Vasagonian warriors, and a flight of marble steps descending to the earth between 2 columns of fractured pillars. Well, I'm guessing it's probably the guarded door. Makes sense, yes? If you wish to try and enter the temple through the guarded trip door, yeah, I'm going to try that. You manage to reach a tangle of briars growing near the crypt door, and from here you can observe the Vasagonian guards undetected. More soldiers appear on horseback, riding into the Macken from the north. They dismount and approach the door. "Password!" shouts the crypt guards. "Loan!" replies the soldiers, and the door opens and they are allowed to enter. Armed with the password, you decide to try and enter the same way, keeping your hood of your cloak raised and your Summerlunding features in shadow. You walk boldly towards the guards. Pick a number on the random number table because this has helped me so far. If you have the Kai discipline of camouflage, add 4 to the number you have picked. Please don't fail me now. 7 plus 4 is 13 or whatever. No, it's like, what? 11. Whatever, it's enough because I only needed 7, so woohoo! Your bravado has paid off. The guard accepts the password and allows you to enter the crypt. As the stone door is drawn shut, you find yourself in a wide torchlit corridor leading towards the east. The corridor ends in a flight of steps that descends 100 feet into the earth. At the bottom, a short passage leads to a junction where a tunnel runs from north to south. To the north, you can see a torchlit cavern with what appear to be observation slits carved into the wall. To the south, passage leads towards a low balcony. Let's check out the balcony, shall we? An empty feeling grips your stomach as you stare upon the altar of the inner sanctum of the subterranean temple. Your Kai senses burn as if every nerve in your body is screaming a warning to flee from this evil chamber. Huge braziers of molten metal encircle the black altar upon which lies the fair Madelon, the daughter of Baron Vanalund. She seems to be entranced. Her breathing is slow and shallow. Beyond the altar lie 2 massive doors, a gigantic skull engraved upon their black stone surface. Out of your view, another door opens, and a procession of red-cloaked priests enter the temple. Their heads are covered, and they each carry strange amulets of black stone. They file past the altar, depositing the amulets in a circle around the young girl's body, and then file out again in total silence. Then you hear the sound of a distant drumbeat. It grows louder and nearer. The measuring steps of steel-shod boots resound in the wake. Baraka is approaching. And you have a picture of the priest and their banner of the skull, skeleton with the sword, and the black stones, etc., etc. Baraka carries a stench of death and decay about him. He strides into the temple, his boots of Goragaz hide covering both legs and feet, and slams shut the huge stone door with frightening ease. He stands in silence before pushing open the huge black doors engraved with menacing skulls. Suddenly, a gale-force wind sweeps through the temple, and your ears are filled with a terrible scream. Beyond the open doors, a pier of stone juts into the abyss of Macken Gorge. You are staring into the chasm of doom. Baraka turns away from the windswept pier and slowly walks towards the altar. From a hidden scabbard, he removes a twisted black dagger and holds its stiletto blade in the light. An evil blue flame runs up and down the black steel spike, flickering in the ice-cold winds of Macken Gorge. The sacrifice is about to begin. If you wish to draw your weapon and attack Baraka, yeah, let's do that. Let's attack him. Woo! Do you possess the summer sword? I do possess the summer sword. As you raise the golden sword, the howling wind seems to rise in pitch and intensity. It claws at your mind, filling your head with terrible images. Whoa, hang on a second. What happened to my, yeah, I was gonna say, what happened to my, stat keeper? Alright. It claws at your mind, filling your head with terrible images of death and horror. Baraka sees you falter and strikes a cool blow that opens a wound in your cheek. Really? No talking? We just get straight to the fighting? Okay. How realistic. You lose 1 endurance point, but the sudden pain reawakens your presence, you to the presence of your enemy, and combat begins. You are being attacked by a very powerful mind blast. Unless you possess the Kaya discipline of Mind Shield, your combat skill was reduced by 4 for the duration of combat. However, Baraka himself is a warrior who possesses formidable strength of will. He's immune to Mind Blast. So... Uh-oh. Hang on. What do we? What? Okay. We have... I gotta reset everything, of course. Because I closed Stat Keeper. +6. I was at full health, wasn't I? Yeah, I was at full health. Because, so, we're at full health. Come on. Alright. Time for the final battle. I have a combat skill of, not 24, actually, because I'm using the Summer Sword. So I have a combat skill of 32. Okay, let's go back to character. So let's do, add 8 to that. Which is 14. So I have a combat skill of 42. 32, because I'm using the Summer Sword. But I'm at -4. Gosh, I keep having. But I'm at a -4 because of the Mind Blast. Right? Alright. So I'm actually at a combat skill of 28. And he is at a combat skill of 25. Ha! I'm still better than you. With an endurance of 29. Ha! I'm gonna whoop your ass. Let's do this. Battle. He's down to 21, I'm down to 33. Round 2. He's down to 5 and didn't even touch me. What? I got him in the kidney. That's right. He's losing blood now. Round 3, he's dead. And I lost 2 points. I'm at 31. Dude, I whooped his butt. Take that. Ain't no one mess with me and my golden Summer Sword. As Baraka dies, the wind suddenly rises in pitch and intensity, filling the temple with a mournful cry of despair. You feel the chill and malevolent spirit of Dark Lord Vashna engulfing you in an icy embrace. But you sense that he is powerless to harm you. The sacrifice has been foiled. He is doomed to lament for the victory that might have been. Lying on the black temple floor is the dagger of Vashna. As you pick it up and tuck it into your belt, the evil blue flame flickers and dies. Yeah, that's right, folks. We got ourselves a new special item. The dagger of Vashna. Dagger of Big V. Alright. We don't really know what it does yet. Just that it's a special item. Alright. The blue flame flickers and dies. As long as you possess this evil blade, Dark Lord Vashna and his legion of dead warriors will remain imprisoned in the Chasm of Doom. You free Medallan from the altar and carry her through the corridors of the temple that lead up to the surface. As you emerge into the moonlit ruins, an astounding sight greets your eyes. Baraka's warriors are running from the ghost city in all directions, closely pursued by an army of cavalrymen. The light of the full moon and the guttering torches of those horsemen carry illuminates the sun crest and bedecks their tunics. Word must have reached Homeguard, for they are the Summerlending army, led by King Unlar himself. Your countrymen praise your courage and daring, their strident cheers drowning the cry of the Macken Gorge. For once again you have proved yourself a true hero of Summerland. As you deliver Madeline into the waiting arms of her father, his overwhelming joy fills you with a sense of great achievement. You are indeed worthy of the title of Kai Lord. You have succeeded in your perilous quest, but the epic saga of Lone Wolf, the last of the Kai Lords, is far from complete. A new and deadly challenge awaits you in Book 5 of the Lone Wolf series, entitled Shadows on the Sand. And of course you have a picture of Vasagonian running in fear, and the king up on the hill with all his cavalry. So, congratulations, my faithful adventurers. We have completed another adventure. Tidbit anticlimactic, maybe? But, it was supposed to be an epic battle, and I just kicked his butt, because I'm bad like that. So, on to Book 5, yes? I'm going to do the first part of Book 5. I'll get that uploaded, and so that way you guys can vote on stuff. Book 5 is another fan favorite. It's technically 2 books in one, which is really neat. They're tied together, but basically it's about twice as long as the regular Lone Wolf book. Because it is the end of the Kai series, the climax, and then the Book 6 is the start of the Magna Kai. So very exciting. Look forward to that. All right, everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you guys in Book 5. Take care.